Hi. This video... Sorry. Hi, this video is not anything special. I'm just gonna watch some YouTube videos and eat some pizza and drink some cola. So... like, comment, share, subscribe, share, all of those things, and enjoy the video. I don't know why you would. It's a boring video, but sure. I don't know what you guys want. It's just me watching videos and eating pizza. It's like you expect me to do something. I'm not gonna do it. I want to flip going to watch LTT.
You know, the script calls for me to say this isn't running very well, but it's fine. We love building, benchmarking, and gaming on the kinds of showcase 1%er machines that most people can only ever dream of. But as much fun as that is, the vast majority of those rigs actually get torn down for reuse in future videos because even for us, daily driving that kind of hardware, it's just not cost effective or practical. It also kind of gives PC gaming a bad image as something that only the elite can afford when that couldn't be farther from the truth. We've built competent esports gaming machines at great prices and even for under $100 on this channel. And you can too, if you're willing to make some compromises. Of course, the kinds of machines that the average gamer is running are somewhere between potato and dream battle station. How do we know this? Well, the monthly Steam hardware survey, which tells us exactly which PC gaming hardware is the most popular. So, with its help, we built the most popular gaming PC on the planet, and we're gonna show you guys exactly how much it would cost you to build it and what kind of performance you can expect. That's right, we've got one. A quad-core Core i7 4770K. According to the Steam hardware survey, 42.94% of you are rocking 4-core processors, with 18.03% of you running a hyper-threaded model like this one, between 3.3 and 3.69 gigahertz. Nice. It turns out then that as much as we all love Ryzen right now, AMD couldn't possibly even manufacture enough of these things to put a dent in Intel's years of dominance. And as of January 2021, Team Blue still owns 70%.
This is all the video is, guys.
Now, that number is shifting. In fact,
Nothing else.
Intel is down almost 10% since December, but it's going to take time. Since motherboard choice shouldn't impact performance much, we grabbed the Z87.
This is all the video is, guys. Nothing gaming related, it's just me eating pizza.
Performance according to the survey. It was important for us to find something with hyper-threading, since just shy of 20% of you apparently do have it. It's kind of amazing how long this chip has kept its relevance, and we actually checked out some reviews on Newegg and PC Part Picker leading up to this video, and it's mostly super positive, like even as recently as a couple of years ago. In the interest of strictly adhering to the specs in the Steam hardware survey, we're unfortunately going to be running this puppy at stock speed, but lots of users of this CPU report running it at 4.2, 4.3, or even 4.4 gigahertz for years at a time. That's not
4.6 since 2016.
Social media coordinator. Memory was a surprising one for me. The average gamer out there, a whopping 43.85% of you, is running 16 gigs of system memory. Not bad. So we picked up two 8-gig sticks of good old-fashioned DDR3 1866. This is actually a great middle ground today.
OG Kingston RAM.
Still squeezed by with 8 gigs, but most AAA games are recommending 16 gigs or more, and a lot of other desktop applications can also benefit from more RAM. We're going to go ahead and assume that you guys are running your memory in dual channel mode and install it that way. You are running in dual channel mode, right?
Of course.
Now, a few things the survey doesn't mention include the case, power supply, cooler, and other peripherals.
Oh, I might comment on the video.
Amazon bestsellers that I'm sure most of you
That's the most you're gonna get, but yeah.
H510, a Hyper 212 Evo V2,
Eating pizza and
CX550
drinking
power supply. All of them are tried
Coke.
classics, and all of them should fit comfortably within most people's budgets.
Here's all this video is.
Unlike our solid gold Xbox controller. Haha! Get subscribed so you don't miss those videos. That is like the emptiest looking computer. Now it's time for what you guys all crave. The GPU. Thing is, as much as we may all lust after ray tracing, you might be surprised to learn that the top ray tracing capable card was the RTX 2060 in 5th place with only 3.6% share. Pretty much every current card then that is capable of delivering a smooth ray traced gaming experience is conspicuously absent. The 3070 isn't even on the list, and the 3080 maintains a slim 0.6% market share. So it ended up being a pretty close race, with the GTX 1060 leading the pack at 9.4%.
Right here, baby. Right fucking here.
We've gone with the 6 gig model since that's how much VRAM 23.5% of you have, and with 66.7% of you running 1080p displays, this should be more than good enough. All that remains is storage. On average, you guys are running over 1 terabyte of storage. It didn't specify whether it's solid state or mechanical, so we're putting an SSD in here just to make our benchmarking run a little bit faster. And that's it. Ain't she a beauty? Looks to me like a lean, mean Steam machine.
Oh yeah.
An LTT Steam game playing machine, since that whole Steam machine idea totally unexpectedly fizzled and died. Let's go ahead and fire her up. But what games should we play? How about the top 5 games on Steam? Alright, so we got CSGO, Dota 2, PUBG, Apex Legends, and Source SDK based 2013 multiplayer. Wait, is that really Gary's mod and Half-Life 2 Deathmatch in 5th place? Did this thing take us back in time?
Oh yeah.
To a time when there was no LTT underwear on LTTstore.com?
That's right.
Nope.
Go to lttstore.com now.
As it turns out, most source mods running on Steam contribute to this inflated number, including the GTA 5 community with the 5M mod. So, Team Fortress 2 in 6th place, let's go with that. Good things. Okay, I'm gonna fight this guy. Honestly, it's running pretty darn well. We're at 80, 90 FPS, dropping as low as like 70, but this is totally an acceptable gameplay experience. Now, you might have noticed the details of the game are looking a little basic. That's on purpose, that's so that we get enough FPS. How have I not? Dang it. Oh, I'm knocked. I'm dead. I'm still a winner because the game ran okay. And overall, the average Steam gamer with a machine like this is having a pretty smooth experience. Only Apex Legends and PUBG fell to 60 FPS lows, with most of these competitive titles here managing closer to 100 FPS with reasonably consistent frame times.
Oh yeah.
Now, that's not to say that these games wouldn't benefit from a faster machine. We did a video back in 2019 demonstrating the competitive advantage of running at higher FPS, even if you don't have a high refresh rate monitor, since your eyes will get more up-to-date information than your competitors. And CSGO is an example of a situation where that difference is quite noticeable. It's really at its best when you can crank out over 200, 300 FPS. The competency of our, of our Steam PC shouldn't be that surprising though, I guess. Most of these games are actually from around the same era. So, to kick things up a notch, we're heading over to Twitch to see if we could use this thing to play along with our favorite streamers. We didn't plan on this part of the video, but it is an interesting point to make. Sometimes your CPU can actually be a bottleneck when it comes to downloading and installing games. But our 4770K is actually keeping up pretty nicely with a 107 megabyte per second download of COD Warzone from Battle.net. So,
Oh yeah.
30% CPU usage? Not bad. Really, they make you watch a cutscene. See, every other game knows not to do this. Okay, here we go. Whee! Let's see if I can manage to stay alive slightly longer than last time. The script calls for me to say this isn't running very well, but it's fine. Definitely a little chuggier and a little more tarry than what we looked at before, but
VSync should be a good option to use. Lock it to 60. Get that smooth frame times.
I've been absolutely elated to have anything over 60 FPS, regardless of whether I had to smear Vaseline on the screen for that free anti-aliasing. As for the rest of our games, you know, being on older hardware really isn't the end of the world. Fortnite was only a little rough when flying in on the battle bus, and even GTA 5 was able to run at plenty of FPS by default, and even looked pretty decent if we didn't mind losing a little bit of frame rate. So there are a couple of lessons here for us, with the biggest one being that all it takes to join the PC master race is an interest in computers. And the gatekeepers who fawn over brand new hardware and put down anything less than the latest and greatest can go suck an egg. Because unless you're trying to run brand new AAA games on high or ultra settings, Cyberpunk, Medium, or Microsoft Flight Sim, you can have a really solid gaming experience with hardware like this. And the best part is that with some savvy eBaying, you can build a machine like this or upgrade a non-gaming machine that you get your hands on for anywhere from $750 to $1,300. Or maybe even less if you're
This is my Saturday, guys. Eating pizza, drinking
A
cola.
lot of this hardware is starting to show its age, and if you upgrade it, you definitely appreciate the smoother animations.
Gonna go from 1060 to 3080 when I can get one.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The average Steam hardware survey PC. Are any of you guys out there running any of these components? Of course you are. Are you still happy with them, or are you ready for an upgrade? Let us know in the comments below. And if
The
you like
GPU
this
needs an
video and you're
upgrade.
looking to build something like it, check out the Dell Office PC that I upgraded to run Valorant a few months back. It's got some really great tips in that video for optimizing Optiplex gamer builds, as we like to call them.
LTT started come. What else? Yeah, let's go for some demonetization. Logan Paul.
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been
Oh,
getting a
shut
little
the
too
hell
over
up.
Quarantine, maybe your son, a father, or
Introducing our fighters! In the blue corner, we have the toe-headed troublemaker, the asinine assassin, the junkyard mutt who lost 15% of one nut. Look it up. Logan Paul! And in the red corner, we probably have somebody who's famous for TikTok dances or something. No, wait, it's an actual boxer. And
Wait,
not just
what?
any boxer, it's the former super lightweight, welterweight, and light middleweight champion of the world. A guy with a professional record of 50 wins and no losses. Floyd Money Mayweather?
What the fuck is Logan Paul doing? He's gonna go against Mayweather? Are you fucking kidding me? I wanna watch that fucking fight. Because that fight is either gonna be super amazing or it's just gonna be super anticlimactic because it's gonna be over in like 2 seconds. I fucking love it. Guys, this is a video, nothing else. I told you not to watch the video. Why are you watching the video? Come on!
Come on. No, that can't be right. Something fishy is clearly going on here. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show where we give you the old 1-2 punch of research and analysis and then finish you off with a big uppercut of meta commentary. Now, theorists, it should surprise exactly 0 of you that I consider myself a lover and not a...
Okay. Sure thing, buddy.
fighter. Ever since I was an elementary age MatPat, I knew that I was much better at solving my problems with pencils, paper, and protractors than my dainty and admittedly clammy fists. And yet, it's a little disturbing to find out how much of an audience there is champing at the bit to see Markiplier rearrange my teeth for $24.99 a pop.
Oh, yeah.
If that's not the fight you're looking for, might I instead interest you in watching Logan Paul get punched in the face repeatedly? The former Vine star, controversial YouTuber, and reincarnated podcaster has, over over the past few years made the boxing ring his latest forum for lunacy, and I gotta admit, these things have actually been legitimately athletic affairs. Don't get me wrong, still don't like the guy, but gotta hand it to everyone who's been involved in these productions. They are way bigger and way better than they probably needed to be. Now, if you've taken the vegan approach to the past few years of YouTuber beef, I'll fill you in real quick. Logan Paul has fought British YouTuber KSI on 2 separate occasions. The first, an amateur bout in England, and the second, an official professional fight in Los Angeles. The first fight was a draw, and while KSI won the second fight in a split decision, Logan had 2 points deducted for an illegal punch when KSI was down. If he'd had those 2 points back, Logan would have actually won the fight. And this wasn't just some backyard unplanned hissy fit. These guys had plans, they had training, and they were definitely really hitting each other. If you go back and watch the fights, it's enough to make you wonder if KSI and Logan Paul could hang with actual professional fighters. Well, we were initially supposed to get our answer to that exact question on February 20th, at least until the match got delayed. You see, that was when Logan was slated to be stepping into the ring against Floyd Mayweather Jr., who isn't just a pro boxer. He holds the professional boxing record for most wins without a loss. 50 wins, 0 losses. Heck, not only has he not lost, he's only ever gotten knocked down to the mat officially once, and even that was debatable. He was a world champion at multiple weight classes, and while at 43, Mayweather is a bit past his prime, his last big fight was against UFC superstar Conor McGregor, whom he beat up until the referee had to stop the fight. Now, if you're one of those people who finds Logan Paul's antics annoying, offensive, or worse, you might be saying to yourself, awesome, a professional boxer is finally gonna give this jerk the beating that he deserves. And while yes, that might be true, Floyd Mayweather is no hero, friends. He has a long legacy of misogyny and multiple charges of domestic violence, so, you know, the whole thing is just 2 villains making a lot of money for each other. I'm rooting for a sinkhole to open up under the ring and swallow both of them into the center of the earth. But failing that, it's still worth asking, what is really going on?
They're kicking
here?
each other's
Is there
ass, so
a
it's
chance
equalized.
That this could be a legitimate fight? Can Logan Paul shock the world by being the first to beat the champion of champions? Will he sustain even more of the brain damage that allegedly prevents him from feeling empathy? Oh my god, are you kidding me? Or the more likely scenario, is there something fishy going on here? Put up your dukes, friends, because today, I ain't pulling any punches. If we want to evaluate Logan Paul's chances against Floyd Mayweather, we have to start by talking about the eyebrow-raising size difference between the two of them. Now, you might just think that Logan Paul is a big doofus, and you'd be right on both counts, but that includes being right about the word big. Logan Paul is listed at 6 feet 2 inches tall, and in his second fight against KSI, he weighed in at 199.4 pounds. This puts Logan Paul in a weight class known as a cruiserweight, and barely below the 200-pound threshold for heavyweight. By comparison, Floyd Mayweather is teeny tiny at 5 feet 8 inches tall, and in his last professional fight, weighing in at 149.5 pounds. A full 50 pounds
He's almost half my weight.
lighter than Logan Paul. You know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, so maybe the size difference isn't that big of a deal, but in the world of professional fighting, 50 pounds is vastly different. Floyd Mayweather was most recently seen fighting in the light middleweight division, which has a maximum weight of 154 pounds. In other words, Mayweather would have to go up 4 weight classes just to qualify to fight Logan in a professional bout. It's not uncommon for fighters to go up or down 1 weight class to make a fight happen, but that kind of weight disparity just doesn't happen in normal boxing or mixed martial arts.
You can't just put on 50 pounds of muscle.
Equivalent to me fighting a 6th grader, which just sounds like a normal day in the comments section. Ba-doom-ching. Self-conscious men might tell you that size doesn't matter, but simple physics give Logan Paul at a much higher weight a massive advantage, since the force of a punch is the mass of the person throwing it times the acceleration with which they throw. With a 50-pound
force
advantage,
equals
Logan
mass
can
times
throw
acceleration.
punches 25% slower than Mayweather and still hit with the same amount of force. And if he knows his angles and spacing properly, Logan can hit Mayweather in all sorts of places where Mayweather can't hit him back. In my video about the first Logan Paul KSI bout, we talked a bit about reach advantage, the importance of having longer arms than your opponent, making it possible to hit them at a distance when they can't hit you back. Logan Paul's reach is 76 inches, and though Floyd Mayweather has relatively long arms for a fighter his height, his reach is only 72 inches. That creates 4 inches of what's known as the pocket. And again, it might not sound like all that much, but if you're thinking of boxing as a sport of precision, 4 inches is the the difference between
Huge.
grazing someone's nose and reaching through their skull
Skull.
and into their brain. So do we have any fights with comparable size differences that we can use for reference? We sure do, but only in heavyweights because there's no upper weight limit. A good example would be the 2009 bout between heavyweight champion Nikolai Valuev and challenger David Haye. David Haye was a heavyweight at 6'3", 217 pounds, but Valuev, nicknamed the Russian Giant, dwarfed him at 7 feet tall, 316 pounds. In the end, 9 extra inches and 100 pounds didn't end up mattering as David Haye defeated the much larger opponent by ducking under punches, moving around the ring much faster than Valuev, and scoring on counter punches to win by decision. So if Logan Paul's size advantage isn't a guaranteed win, that means the fight is going to come down to technique, and that means Logan Paul is in deep, deep trouble against one of the most technically sound fighters of all time. Let's start off with a comparison of their offenses. In the second fight against KSI, Logan had 2 major strengths, his jab and his counterpunch uppercut. The jab, the quick straight punch with the lead hand, is almost always going to be the main weapon for someone with a
Protect
reach
your
advantage.
head, Logan.
That was the punch that Logan threw the most in his fights against KSI, and he often landed it pretty cleanly, as evidenced by his advantage in CompuBox statistics from the fight. Logan landed 28% of his total punches in the second KSI fight compared to KSI's 21%. On the other hand, none of the jabs appeared to do much damage. They just scored points on the judges' scorecards. If you want to talk about Logan doing actual damage, that occurred when he threw a couple of counterpunch uppercuts late in round 4, knocking KSI to the canvas. The uppercut finishing move, my friends, not just for Little Mac anymore. So yeah, Logan Paul definitely has one-punch knockout power, but it's worth mentioning that the uppercut was there for him because KSI threw a lot of his punches like he was trying to pop Logan's head off like a rock'em sock'em robot. That's the kind of position you're pretty much never going to see Floyd Mayweather in because his standard strategy isn't going into the ring guns blazing, but instead
Oh yeah, I
breaking
can't
down
wait
his
for
set
this
traps
fucking
for them to
fight.
fall
It's gonna
into.
be
Here's
fucking
an example
amazing.
from Mayweather's 2007 fight against the then undefeated British boxer Ricky Hatton. Mayweather is backpedaling towards the ropes with Hatton pursuing him. Without looking, Mayweather knows that he's about to hit the ropes and predicts that Hatton's about to throw a big punch since Hatton thinks that Mayweather is going to be trapped in the corner. This allows Floyd to slip out, throw a crisp right hook, and
T.
that's probably Mayweather's biggest weapon. If he can bait you into doing what he wants you to do, he can be prepared to catch you with the exact punch that you're going to be most vulnerable to. The signature punch Floyd Mayweather throws better than nearly anyone else is a body jab. Most fighters jab straight to the head and only hit the body in close quarters, but not Mayweather. While these jabs to the body don't feel good, their main purpose isn't doing damage, but rather to lower the opponent's guard down and leave the chin vulnerable. This calculating chess game style fighting is why a 2012 analysis by CompuBox calculated that Floyd Mayweather's connect rate with his punches was 46%, best in the world and almost 20 points higher than Logan Paul's rate in his second match against KSI. That means if Logan wants to win, his defense will have to be better than Floyd Mayweather's, right? Well, there's a King Hippo-sized fat chance of that one happening because that same analysis of boxers' hit rates also showed that his opponents hit Floyd Mayweather with their punches a measly 16% of the time. Mayweather's signature defensive move is called the shoulder roll, where he angles his left shoulder up to protect his face, keeps his left arm horizontal to protect his body, and uses his right arm to protect the other side of his head. When he's using it effectively, it's almost like he has 3 hands defending him. You can see it on display in his fight against Olympic gold medalist Oscar De La Hoya, where De La Hoya throws about a dozen punches in a couple of seconds, but only like one of them actually connects. All the rest of them either deflect off Mayweather's raised shoulders or on his vertical right arm. On the other side of things, we got Logan Paul, whose defensive stance was criticized a bit by the commentators in the second fight against KSI. And while he generally stayed out of harm's way against KSI by moving his feet and circling the ring, I have to believe that Logan Paul is gonna get caught a lot more often when he's facing one of the most precise fighters of all time, who's been fighting professionals for 25 years. How is this fight actually gonna go? Well, there are 2 most likely scenarios as I see it. Scenario 1, Floyd Mayweather's experience, technique, speed, strength, stamina ultimately means that he boxes Logan to death, whether by setting a big trap to end the fight with one big punch, or just by scoring points and staying out of trouble the whole fight. Scenario 2, shenanigans. Doesn't this fight seem a little strange to you? Why on earth would Floyd Mayweather accept a fight against a relative amateur, someone 50 pounds heavier than he is who's never won a single publicized fight? Well, 2 reasons really. First, the clout. Logan and his brother Jake, as much as I hate to admit it, are the 2 biggest things to happen to boxing in recent history, since Mayweather's last fight, in fact, his 2017 bout against the UFC superstar Conor McGregor. Oh sure, don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of talented boxers and big matches in the intervening years, but when it comes to increasing search trends for boxing online and getting new you viewers, especially younger viewers interested in the sport, nothing compares to the influences of the Pauls. And Mayweather, being smart, knows that a bout like this will bring him even more clout in the industry, more public awareness online, especially since it's been nearly 5 years since he was last in the spotlight. Second, and the most obvious answer, is Floyd's nickname, Money. A match like this would obviously be profitable for a lot of reasons, but there's one stipulation here that Floyd might find exciting that you might not think about. Consider this. We know why a retired Mayweather would fight a YouTuber. Continued relevance, more money, etc. But why would Logan want to fight someone almost certain to beat him senseless? Getting pummeled by Mayweather is almost certainly going to get him laughed out of a boxing career before his career even gets started, unless of course he doesn't get pummeled. You see, you have a lot of people eager to get into the ring with Floyd Mayweather. A match against him, even in an exhibition setting, can make a star, provided of course that you don't embarrass yourself. And the thing about boxing is that, well, there's a lot of ways to ensure that you don't embarrass yourself. Boxing is full of matches that are, fishy, to say the least. In the early and mid-1900s, the sport had deep ties with the mafia, which has been a hard stigma for boxing to shake. It also doesn't help that recent Olympic boxing results have had some pretty suspicious judging behavior, getting the Olympics committee to consider whether it should remain an official Olympic sport. As you might imagine, any sport heavily connected to betting has a high temptation to fix fights. But that alone isn't enough. It's also easier to fix a fight in boxing than almost any other sport. Boxing is just two guys in a ring with the winner being the last man standing. It's easy to take a fall and just stay on the mat. No one can ever really judge what does or doesn't happen in a person's body when a particular punch lands. To this day, people still debate the outcome of Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston II. Sure, you might not know that fight by name, but you definitely know the image associated with it. In this fight, Sonny Liston falls to a phantom punch less than 2 minutes into the match, only for the whole thing to be called off seconds later. Rigged? Many people seem to think so for many reasons, especially considering Liston's long association with the mafia and the possibility that he had already thrown the first fight against Muhammad Ali. And making all of this stuff worse is the fact that it's hard to objectively call this sport. If neither opponent gets knocked down, matches are either won or lost by a judge's decision, and points are delivered based on a subjective ranking of a fighter's performance in each round. As I mentioned before with KSI versus Logan Paul, an extra point or two here or there can easily swing the result, and when there's no standard of measurement, it's easy to call things one way or the other. So what am I saying in all this? Nothing. But we do know that both of these men have a flair for spectacle over substance. Logan has repeatedly shown himself as someone with questionable moral fiber, and as for Floyd Mayweather, he's fought some fake fights before, most notably against The Big Show at WrestleMania 24, but he's also been accused of fighting fixed exhibitions before. In 2018, Floyd Mayweather fought popular Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa, knocking him down 3 times in less than 3 minutes despite landing very few significant punches. That fight was also not professionally sanctioned, just like Mayweather's fight against Logan Paul, meaning that even if Mayweather had lost, his official undefeated record would remain intact. So here's the thing, in this matchup, whenever it happens, Mayweather doesn't lose. He just doesn't. That just doesn't make sense for his brand or for anyone in this case. But
if he does, it will be very bad.
Land enough light punches to get a high judge's score, but not so many punches that it knocks Logan out. And Logan can likewise land a few of his own and stay on his feet the whole time. It's a win-win situation for everyone. Mayweather cashes out and stays relevant. Logan gets the street cred to be taken as a serious boxer, opening the door to other professional bouts with big names in the sport. And to sweeten the deal, because Mayweather is a smart businessman who definitely knows what he's doing, he would negotiate to own a portion of Logan's career moving forward. This makes Logan a star in boxing, and Mayweather continues to profit for years to come. And we know that this billionaire boxer wants to make another billion, only in a different industry. Here's the tale of the tape, my friends. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen whenever these two finally get in the ring together, but let's face it, when two villains go toe-to-toe, the audience might just be the ones getting sucker punched. But hey, that's just a theory. A game.
Theory.
And as much as boxing is a game, theory. Thanks for watching.
Go subscribe to Game Theory. Also, end of the video. Bye.